A little history lesson on the founding mothers. Today, I want to introduce you to Betty Zane. Now, Betty Zane was only 17 years old at the time of our first war for independence. Betty Zane and her family had been driven from their home when British regulars, the British troops, burned their town to the ground. Seeking refuge at a nearby fort, as many of our founders did, Betty Zane and her family noticed that it was very difficult to get provisions, very difficult to get gunpowder to defend the fort. So Betty Zane, while walking back to her fort where her family was seeking refuge, happens to walk past an enemy fort housed by 40 British soldiers and 250 Native Americans, the Native American tribes that had joined up with the British soldiers to fight us for our independence. So Betty Zane, the 17-year-old girl, has this thought. I bet because I'm just a 17-year-old girl, they would not even, in this enemy fort, if I just walked in, nobody would take notice of me. So that's exactly what Betty Zane does. The 17-year-old girl, boldly, bravely, full of courage and audacity, walks right into this enemy fort. She walks into their powder house. She fills her apron with powder, runs out of the enemy fort with her apron full of powder. And it said, the history of this says that the 40 British soldiers and the Native Americans in this fort were so mad, so shocked at what she did, that all they could do was stand and shout as she ran away. This is September 12, 1782. 1782. Can you imagine the bravery of this young lady? Not a victim, by the way. Not under a powerless mentality, by the way. But actually fighting for her life with bravery and courage. Listen to this poem about Betty Zane. Upon those half-cleared rolling lands, a crowded city proudly stands. But of the many who reside by green Ohio's rushing tide, not one has lineage prouder than, be he poor or rich, the man who boasts that in his spotless strain mingles the blood of Betty Zane. I want you to see this because I want you to know that what we're dealing with here is a fake history in America. These people are written about in history. There is documents on them. There are pages on them. There are things all over America, in libraries, on the internet, everywhere about these people. You don't have to be ignorant about our founding mothers. And by the way, even though Betty Zane was only 17 years old, she was a founding mother. It was the women at the grassroots level that really did everything for us. So you have to join us all through the month of March. I'm going to be teaching you about these women. We talked about Mercy Otis Warren already. We talked about how she's the first American woman playwright, first American woman historian, first American woman political advisor. And now you have Betty Zane, who is now, what do you call it? An arms racketeer. Stealing arms from the enemy to be used in the defense of her family. And that's the courage and the boldness of the American spirit.